Good morning. There was this story from the book The Church from the Roots by Canona and Trevisan and Martins. It is about a missionary in Africa who was called to baptize an old patriarch who was dying already. So the catechist prepared the patriarch for the reception of the sacraments, teaching him that with baptism he would go to heaven and be with the angels, with the saints, and all the baptized. After greeting him with words of encouragement and comfort, the priest began the baptismal ceremony and asked him, "So do you want to be baptized and go to heaven?" And the tribal patriarch answered, "Well, to be honest, Father, I have thought about it, and I've decided that I don't want to be baptized anymore." And the priest asked, "And why is that?" The patriarch replied, "Father, my friends, all my relatives, and all my ancestors are not baptized." And the priest asked, "Why should I change your mind? Don't you want to go to heaven?" And the tribal patriarch said, "Father, if that's the case, I do not know anyone in heaven. I prefer to go to hell. At least there I have friends, relatives, as well as my ancestors who died without being baptized." End of story. If heaven is not love and communion, then it is not heaven at all. True heaven implies connections. If you have no friends and you are no friend of anybody in heaven, it's not heaven. If there's no fellowship and real friendship in the church, it's not a church. If there's no real communion and love in our community, it's not a community of God's kingdom. Even a family is not a family if there's division, if there's unity, if there's no fellowship, if there's no love, if there's no communion. A church is strong when there is communion. A church falters when it is divided. This is what Jesus emphasizes in today's passage when he says, "If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house is divided against itself, that house will not be able to stand." In the early times, Paul was distressed when the members of the church were no longer eating meals together. He also fretted about their divided loyalties, with factions declaring, "I am for Paul, I am for Apollos." He urged them to be loyal only to God, who alone can keep them in unity. To be a church, therefore, is to embody communion. This should be a constant focus of any parish community. Believing in one God, we must function as one united community, one in God, one in faith, one in mission, one in worship, one in sacraments. Through genuine communion, fellowship, and the cultivation of meaningful friendships, we can transform our community into a reflection of heaven on earth. Amen.